Hello, everyone. As Mimi said, I'm Andy Smith, and my part of the presentation today is to talk about some of the new features in the Acumatica mobile app in the 2022 R1 release. As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, I have several bullets that we'll be covering in the demo in a second. I do want to mention the last one there I won't be showing you, that there are several admin screens within the main Acumatica interface that allow your IT team or your Acumatica administrator to have some control and further customize or tweak the interface of the mobile app for their users. But we will be touching on those first four bullets, and I'm not going to read them to you, but the theme there is twofold. One is to create some flexibility at the user level for how your users in the mobile app can adjust it and optimize it for their own personal preferences. The second part of that theme is making it more in line with the main Acumatica interface. And you see terms there like workspaces, favorites, widgets. Those are all things that some of you are used to seeing in the Acumatica interface that were not present in the mobile app up to this time. On the right-hand side, just for reference, I'm showing a screenshot of the mobile app as it changed to about 6 months ago. Those of you that used it a long time ago, it was more of a square kind of interface. This is just a rearrangement or a reconfiguration of the look of that. And the version I'm about to show you on my phone is the next step in that evolution, where it's built upon that and added those thematic elements that I just mentioned. So let me go ahead and share my phone. So bear with me while I get this going. And you should be seeing our algorithm demo system here on the mobile app. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. We're going to work from the bottom up as I talk about these new elements. The first piece of this is called Workspaces. And again, that's a term that you're familiar with within Acumatica. And what they've done is reconfigured what you saw in the screenshot a minute ago to be a little bit more like what you're used to seeing in Acumatica itself. And I'll drill down into one of those in a second. But to talk a little bit about the flexibility, I, as a user, have the ability to rearrange these according to the things that I'm going to use most often. So for example, if I long press on that top one and drag it down a little, I can easily rearrange these things according to my preference. So super easy. If I prefer, I can click on the three-dot menu in the upper right, and it's going to allow me to go to a subscreen to reorder them as well. But it does the same exact thing that I just showed you, so no difference there. The second piece I want to show you is within these workspaces themselves. So I'm going to use the time and expenses one, that is the second one that you're currently looking at. As I drill into it, you're going to see the screens that I have available to me underneath here. So you can see I've got expense receipts, claims, approvals, etc. So just like within the standard Acumatica interface, I can drill into those. I can perform actions that I would expect to. I want to pause here and note that the underlying screens that are available on the mobile app and the way that they behave haven't changed. So the 2022 R1 release has, in my view, has improved the front end interface quite a bit. And hopefully, as they continue to evolve this thing in future releases, they'll get to some of those underlying screens. But if I were to drill into those, you would see exactly what you see today. The last note on this screen are the icons out to the right, where you see plus signs next to expense claims, events, tasks, etc. And then you see the three dots next to expense receipts. That gives me an easy way to create a new record or do other actions that I have available to me. So for example, if I click on the three dots to the right of expense receipts, you see that pop-up menu at the bottom. I can create a new one. I can capture from my camera or other things. So that allows me to, again, save a couple of clicks. I don't have to drill into the screen and click plus from there. Okay, let's shift now to the concept of favorites. I'm going to use this top expense receipts option as a way to show you that. As I click into that, I would see a list of expense receipts that I have here in the demo system. I don't happen to have any, but let's say expense receipts is something that I want to use on a regular basis. I can again click on the three dots at the upper right, and I can choose add screen to favorites. So I'll go ahead and do that. It's going to think for a minute. And now if I back all the way out to my main screen, you can see I have a new favorites section there right above my workspaces. So as soon as I log into my mobile app, I can then look at or create new expense receipts. So I like that quite a bit. To continue on that favorites theme, if I look at the bottom of my screen, you can see the 4 icons down there. I have the home, the search, star, etc. If I click on the star, that's going to be just like in standard Acumatica. There I don't have any records favorited, but if I come over to my expense receipts, or excuse me, my screens favorites, there's my expense receipt. So that's another way that I can get to that same set of favorites that was on my home screen. Okay, so transitioning to the next piece is the search. I'm going to click on the magnifying glass at the bottom, and it gives me a standard search screen, just like in Acumatica, standard Acumatica, we have the universal search at the top. If I type something in here, and I'm just going to type something that I know I have quite a bit of in my demo system, you can see here it's given me transactions that relate to that Alta term that I typed in. And if I choose one of them, so this sales order, for example, I can drill down in and review what's going on with this sales order and process it if that's appropriate. But the reason I showed you that was if I back all the way out to my home screen again, now I'm back here on my home page, and notice above my favorites, I have this recently visited section. So if I were to click on that sales order, there's that 6485 sales order that I drilled into a minute ago, and I can scroll to the right, and it's going to give me a history of things that I've looked at in Acumatica recently. So again, another nice piece of flexibility for the user and making it mirror what's in standard Acumatica. And then the last piece for my part of the presentation is this KPI, and this is probably my favorite piece here in the mobile app. What I can do is if I want to add a KPI to my mobile app, I can come in here and I can type any sort of term that I want to search for. Now, these are KPI widgets that are determined by my Acumatica administrator. I, as a user, can't add these, but once they've been created in standard Acumatica, they're available for me to add here on my mobile app. So if I want to look at late shipments and late orders, I can just star those. And now if I back up, my main screen refreshes and you can see I have those KPIs. So again, reflecting the same kind of capability that I have in Acumatica. But if I'm on the road or working remotely, now I can have those important notifications for me here. And just quickly before I hand it over, I want to build on that last theme where it's important to note that the changes I'm making here and the things that I'm setting up are not necessarily reflected over in my main Acumatica interface. Those are specific to my mobile app. Okay, that's everything I wanted to show you on the mobile app. With that, I want to go ahead and hand it over to Ben Thomas, who's going to introduce some new features in the sales order module.